Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unity of New Westminster's Sunday celebration service. Please join us for our opening song this morning, See God in Every Face.
We come together to behold the power of love, the power of light. We come together to behold we are divine. Lift up our hands, lift up our hearts, oh, lift up our vision, lift it to the stars. Dance in the glory, whirl in the grace. See God in every face. See God in every face. We come together to behold the power of love, the power of light. We come together to behold we are divine. Lift up our hands, lift up our hearts, oh, lift up our vision, lift it to the stars. Dance in the glory, whirl in the grace. See God in every face. See God in every face. We come together to behold the power of love, power of light. We come together to behold we are divine. Lift up our hands, lift up our hearts, oh, lift up our vision, lift it to the stars. Dance in the glory, whirl in the grace. See God in every face. 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 Hey!
Welcome back. I am Reverend Rona Segara, and it is my pleasure to welcome you on behalf of Unity of New Westminster Spiritual Community in beautiful British Columbia, Canada. Whether you are watching live on Zoom, on Facebook, or on YouTube, or whether you are watching on demand later, it is my pleasure to extend a warm welcome to all of you. We would love to stay connected with you. So if you could subscribe to our newsletter or subscribe to our YouTube channel or like us on Facebook and add us to your social media likes and friends, we would love to stay connected with you. The Unity Movement offers spiritual principles for full and abundant living. We draw on the teachings of Jesus as our primary way shower and example. And we honor that there is wisdom in faith traditions all over the planet. We honor every person's right to choose their own spiritual path. All are welcome here. All are worthy here. All are celebrated here. We open our service today in prayer. I gratefully acknowledge that I speak to you on the traditional and unceded territory of the Semiahmoo First Nation. And we give thanks to First Nation peoples everywhere for their custody of this beautiful land. We give thanks that we are able to meet together in this virtual setting at a time when we are unable to meet in person. We give thanks for our connection one with each other. That connection that happens whether we are in each other's physical presence or not. That connection that binds us all together. We acknowledge that there is only one presence, that there is only one power, that power that is understood by many names, many faces, and many paths. And we affirm that regardless of the name, the face, or the path of our understanding, that we are one human family. And it is in that knowledge of our oneness that we send a blessing for love, for peace, for contentment to every being on this planet, to every being, regardless of all the labels that threaten to divide us. We are one. And for this knowledge, for this intention, and for the power that we have to bless, we give thanks. Amen. Our daily word today will be read by someone who serves our community in many ways. He is always willing to help at community events when we need to have a tent put up, or when we need to have it taken down, or when we need to have a booth attended to. He also helps with the landscaping at our church, cutting the grass, removing the snow if that is necessary. And to top it off, he loves catering, loves to make sandwiches, and has the best soups ever. When we have a potluck and Cliff brings soup, we're all really excited. Please welcome an all-round good guy, my friend, Cliff Dellingham.
February 28th, 2020, Connection. I honor my connection with all people. No matter how great the distance that exists between me and the people I care about, I know we are connected by our love for one another. Today, I reestablish strength in this connection by reaching out, even if it is only to let someone know I am thinking about them. Our connection is also kept strong through prayer. As I pray for those I care about, I bless them by holding my highest vision for their lives, seeing them as healthy, prosperous, happy, and fulfilled. Whether we're in frequent contact or have fallen out of touch, my connection with my loved ones remains strong because we are one in God, one in love. 1 Corinthians 12:13. For in the one Spirit we were all baptized into one body, Jews or Greeks, slaves or free, and we are all made to drink of one Spirit.
Get ready, my soul. I'm driving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm driving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. everything I've ever seen, everything I've lost or won, everything I've ever dreamed has brought me here to the present moment, here to a new beginning, here, and I'm seeing life so clearly now. Get ready, my soul, I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul, I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul, 'cause here I go, deeper, deeper, deeper than I've ever been before. Here I go, closer, closer, closer to my sacred source. Here I go, deeper, deeper, deeper than I've ever been before. Here I go, closer, closer, closer to my sacred source. Get ready, my soul, I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul, I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. Get ready, my soul.
In this season of Lent, we are exploring the notion of change and transition. We've experienced so much transition in the last year, haven't we? We've gone through a time of uncertainty and darkness and loss. And now, with the promise of a vaccine, perhaps we're in the place where we can dare to look towards the future and begin to reconnect with people in the way that matters to us the most. Because of these changes, I thought it was appropriate to talk about change right now. Before we move into this new place, this new phase, I think it's important to recognize where we've come from and how far we've come. And that is all part of this transition process, this change process that we go through every day in various ways. And so last week we looked at an aspect of change, and I invited us to consider the idea of changing our relationship with change. I spoke about how we all resist change. It is a normal reaction for us humans to not to want to go into the unknown. And so we would prefer to stay in situations that sometimes do not serve us well. But our tendency will be to really resist moving into the unknown simply because it is the unknown. My invitation then last week was to change that relationship with change and instead to recognize that change happens. Whether we like it or not, shift happens. And so if we can be less resistant to change, we will be able to be more present to it, more calm with it, more able to function within it. We might even be at that place where we can see the change with the negative and unpleasant and determine to find the bless in the mess. Find the blessing in spite of the pain. And so last week we looked at this idea of changing our relationship to change. And this week, what I want to do is share the idea of change as being a journey. All of this work that I'm doing, that I'm sharing with you, is based on a book called Finding Yourself in Transition by Reverend Robert Brumet. It is a brilliant book. If you have the opportunity to read it, you will find wisdom abounds in that book. And one of the things Dr. Brumet talks about is this idea of change having three phases: a beginning, an ending, a void, and then a beginning, a new beginning. Now think back to any long journey that you've had to take. Chances are all you wanted to do was get from point A to point B as quickly as you could. No stops, no diversions, just get me from here to here. And let me put my headphones on, let me put my book reader on, let me watch a movie, let me do something so I don't have to be in that waiting for the new beginning. And what Dr. Brumet says is that it is in the journey that we actually shed the old and become ready for the new. That the destination is less important. Getting to the end is less important than the journey itself. It's a challenging thought that the best way to get through the valley of the shadow of death from one side to another, through the unknown, the best way to get to the end is to navigate yourself through all of that. There's no going around it, only through it. So I said each stage has, each ending has three stages. Each transition has three stages. The ending, this middle, which is so messy sometimes, and then the new beginning. And we see this played out in our lives often. We see them included in our rites of passage in many ways. So I'm thinking particularly of some cultures where the boys are sent away into the wilderness. They leave their homes. They quite often are literally stripped of their clothing and everything they have, and they're sent away into the void. where they are then initiated and then brought back. And when they are brought back and they are returned to the community, they are transformed. They are respected in a different way. They quite often are given a brand new name. And this journey from ending to void to new beginning is seen in these rites of passage. And the rite of passage is seen also in something that Joseph Campbell addressed and identified. He called it the hero's journey. And what he noticed is that in stories ancient and modern, there is this storyline that is pretty common of an everyday person becoming a hero. And stories then are their journey from the ending through the void and to a new beginning. And I'm going to go over what that hero's journey looks like as Campbell mentioned it, and then invite you to see yourself in those stories. See if you can grow with the things that you are going through. Campbell begins with the idea of a hero. Now, recognize hero as not gender specific. I say hero because it's easier, but think male, female, gender neutral, whatever is comfortable for you when I say the word hero. Our hero, heroine, shero, is living a fairly normal life. You are living a fairly normal life. And then there is a call, a push, a need for something to change. Shift happens. And our hero resists, isn't sure, or sometimes the hero will just step right in. But most of the time, when it comes to change, there is this resistance. And so, sure enough, our hero will resist. And eventually, the call, the longing, the imperative to do something becomes so great that the hero finds themselves unable to stop the need for change, unable to resist the change. And so he ends and leaves behind all that was comfortable for him. In that process, he steps over a threshold and into a void, into an emptiness that may at times be exciting, but for the most part at the beginning of the journey is very scary. And as that person steps into that, they leave everything behind and there is no going back to the way it was. Even if they turned around right away, there would be a part of them that is permanently changed simply by taking the first step. So our hero takes this first step and wanders into the wilderness. And when he wanders into the wilderness, doesn't know what to do, he's disoriented, it seems unclear. He longs for the way things used to be. Perhaps he grieves the way things used to be, although you don't see that much in story because nobody wants to see people cry. And that's part of our problem, I believe, is that we are so uncomfortable with seeing people grieving, lamenting, And yet there's a part of our hero that laments and wishes they could go back to the way things were, because this just looks so insurmountable. Nonetheless, he pursues his goal of following this change. Can't go back. Often now in story, what happens is he finds friends who help to support his decision. He finds sidekicks that come and accompany him on the journey and support him as he moves, her as she moves, they as they move along this new navigating path of change. And often, again, in the story, you find that the hero recognizes that they need more help, that the task that they are facing is greater than they can handle without some extra resources. And so often then you see a mentor come along, someone who will provide new skills for this person and help to train them and educate them so that they will be able to stand on their own 2 feet better. In movies, for example, I can think of in Star Wars, where Luke Skywalker is trained in the use of the Force and using a lightsaber by Obi-Wan Kenobi and Yoda. So you have these mentors that come along and help the hero to grow. And as the journey continues, the hero and sidekicks end up having challenges. And as they navigate those challenges and overcome those challenges, they hone their skills. They learn more about themselves. They learn what works, what doesn't work. And as they do so, they start awakening to the recognition that they are more resilient than they thought they were. They realize that they are capable of more than they ever imagined. And they realize that there are some places where they need to still adjust, pivot, adapt. And they do so. And as they do so, they move more confidently toward the thing that they fear the most. In stories, that is the meeting of the monster or the slaying of the dragon. And with those stories, more often than not, the hero faces the dragon, the monster, alone. More often than not, the hero has left the sidekicks and the mentor behind, or they fall back and allow the hero to do what is theirs to do, which is to overcome the final obstacle. And then when that obstacle has overcome, when the hero has shed all of the fear, all of the uncertainty, and is standing in their own power, then the last vestiges of the uncertainty are allowed to drop away. They get integrated differently into the hero, and he emerges, she emerges, they emerge stronger, transformed. And now, standing in that new power, in that new knowledge, they are free to continue and begin again, to a new beginning. In story, quite often they go back to their own old village, But when they do, they go back different. They go back in a different energy, and they are respected and treated differently. And so this hero's journey has these three phases: the ending, the void, and the beginning. And why am I sharing that with you? Because I think that you might consider being the hero in your own journey. That you might consider the journey as a natural part of life, and then approach those changes that we see with the resolve to grow through what we go through, and to be willing to step out of what is comfortable and embrace what is new, knowing that you aren't permanently throwing away everything that you were before. You're simply integrating it differently. You're still the same person, but with expanded skills. Jesus talked about this. He said that you cannot put new wine into an old wineskin. The wineskin will crack. You cannot put a new patch onto an old cloak, because it will stretch and break. And when we move from old cloak to new cloak, without the journey, we are robbing ourselves of the opportunity for the lessons that we could find in the journey, the lessons we could find in the transformation. And to the extent that we do that, we might carry some of that unresolved stuff, whether it's habits or grief or resentment, anger. We could carry all of that with us to the new. And to the extent that we do that, the harder it is to embrace the new. So this journey of grieving, of finding support, of saying farewell to the old, is so important. Think of how that shows up in your life. We see it in our rites of passage. Think of a person getting married, a person graduating from school of any kind, having a new baby. We see rites of passage, and where we see the friends coming to support is in the rituals that we have. So we have rituals like wedding celebrations and showers and stags and all those things for weddings. And we have showers and celebrations like baptisms for children who are newly born. We have graduation ceremonies where our friends and our families are there to show their support for the transition. We see it in memorial, in grief, in death, where we have this need to step into a void that can be so scary and so painful. And one of the ways that helps to make that transition more easy is to have the support of people who honor the person you are losing, the health you are losing. That's why memorial services and celebrations of life are so important. All of the journeys that we take, all of the transitions that we make include these 3 steps: the ending, the middle, the new beginning. And all of the steps have these elements of letting go of the past and then moving towards a new future, inviting some of the new to meet you on the journey, if that is possible, so that there's this handover from the old to the new. The prime message of all of these rites of passage, all of these transitions, is that it is impossible to move effectively from the old to the new without passing through the void, without dealing with our grief, with the things that scare us the most. And the promise is that the hero discovers that there is support, discovers that there is a mentor there, discovers that they are more resilient. And so my invitation to you this week is to think back on some of the transitions you've made in your life and see if you can see how that journey unfolded, how you were once in that calm place of knowing, how you moved into that darkness and uncertainty, sometimes kicking and screaming and yelling and not wanting to go, sometimes happy to get there. Think of how important it was to have support for you as you made that shift. Think of the people who showed up to support you. Think of the mentorship that you discovered, the 12-step group, or the crisis support line, or a doctor, or a nurse, or a minister, or a friend who is wise. And then think of how you were the only one who, in the end, could navigate the journey. All these supports are there for you, but only you make the journey. Only you are able to fight the dragon, to put down those things that no longer served you, or those things that you don't want to get rid of, you don't want to let go, but you need to in order to proceed. And then notice what happens when you think back to those transitions, and how many of them actually opened something brand new and exciting for you, something that you had never considered possible for yourself. Even the most painful experiences have taught you something, have led to something of value for you. And think, though, of the freedom and the expansion when you move after slaying that dragon to the other side. Paul said, Be ye renewed by the transforming of your mind. And that is all that these change journeys are. An opportunity to place the old down, to step out of the old coat, and to move into the new. As you consider the history of your transition steps, consider then where you are now. And recognize that it also is a transition. Wherever we are always in transition. And because of that, perhaps we can treat ourselves more kindly when we recognize that what we're going through, our resistance, our grief, our anxiety and wanting to get to the end are perfectly normal. And allow yourself permission to be in that uncomfortable, dark place, knowing that there is where the growth is. Are you willing to grow through what you are going through? That is the hero's journey. And you are the hero in your own story. Blessings.
And the
Please join us on Thursdays for our prayer and meditation service. It is a time where we check in with each other, and then we move into a guided meditation. During that time, we also name the names of the people on our prayer list. If you would like your name to be added, or you know someone whose name you'd like to see added to our prayer list, then please email us at unityofnewwestminster@gmail.com, and we will be sure to add the name to the list. And please join us on Thursdays. That time has become very special to all of us because it is such a renewing, calming, and generative time. Please join us, 11 on Thursdays. Two days ago on Friday evening, we held our second virtual talent night. It was hosted by Jerry, and I was unable to get home in time to get onto the computer. So as we were driving home, I was watching on my phone, and for some reason I couldn't get the sound. But I could see the faces, and I could see the laughter and the joy and the connection. It was such a special thing to watch. I hope that you join us for the next talent show, the next open mic. It will be every last Friday of the month. So March 26th at 7 o'clock, hosted by Jerry. Please mark it in your calendars. And thank you to all who attended. It looked like such a fun time. It's not too late to join our writers group. We are meeting on Mondays at noon for 90 minutes, from noon until 1:30. And we're going through a process of a writer's class. So we are discovering why we want to write, what we want to write about in a very orderly and structured way. It makes it really easy if you have never considered yourself a writer. This process allows you to dip your toe into the water and do so in a way that is measured and safe and very easy. So please, if you've ever considered writing, if you've ever thought, I might want to write a journal, a memoir, a novel, a nonfiction book, whether you want to write poetry or prose, this space is available for you. It is hosted by Anne Rainbow, who lives in England. And so we have people from England, we have people from Washington, D.C., from Montreal, Canada, from Idaho, as well as right here in BC. It's becoming kind of an international group, which is really, really fun and exciting to contemplate. So please join us. A reminder that we have a food pantry that is outside our church building. It is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, for people who may benefit from having some canned goods that are able to be accessed at any time. If you have extra that you would like to share, then please bring canned goods and place them in the pantry. And if you could benefit from taking some of that food and nourishing yourself and your family, then please do so as well. And I would love it if you could share that message with anyone that you know could use the assistance. Thank you. Thank you for your contributions to our ministry. Your contribution not only supports Unity of New Westminster, but also we send a portion of that to Unity Canada so that the message of unity is spread across the country. We also send a portion to organizations in our own community that do charitable work, meaningful work to people right here in New West. So I thank you on behalf of the board for your contributions. We are so grateful for the generosity. I invite you now to hold your gifts, whatever you feel grateful for, whatever you feel blessed for. Please hold them in your heart, in your mind, as we sing our blessing song. We are indeed blessed.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
And so we come to the end of our service for another week. If you are watching us live, please join us on Zoom after the service for a time of fellowship. Thank you for joining us. I hope you enjoyed your experience with us today. And I wish you a very blessed week. Goodbye, everybody.
And let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
I am the light of God. I am the love of God. I am the power of God. I am the presence of God. Wherever I am, God is. I am the light of God. I am the love of God. I am the power of God. I am the presence of God. Wherever I am, presence of God.